Delphine uqalele futhi ngiqalele
isibangisa nge-cable graph.
no askis
Abayifuni ukuyibona. Qale phansi ne?
This simulation, that takes some time. Whenever I press on, it turns on, and it also show you on the device that your bulb or any appliances is on. So I can go on again and just switch your go to the second light, which I say it's a bedroom light. And here I have all those plugs and sockets. Whenever you want to plug anything, just power it up. So now I connected that to the
No, but training is part of so why So guys,
like I have that government keeps together. Yeah.
It doesn't move. This thing, it doesn't move.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Even the but it can be side. Because it's going to be ugly if the lemon and the thing like that. What's it going to be ugly?
Sorry?
Just to get familiarized with the next meeting.
Doing a quick tour of something else.
The project is about when somebody gets here, for example, you'll be able to have a picture of the exact person who have a sketch. That's the
I'll do it again in about
6 they will construct you the maximum height I can get from this one is taking a lot of money from it. But my ambition is to have a height that can actually reconstruct human being and give you the exact frame of how the person exactly is. That's what this one is. But later we thought that no, we can get community value from there by making flower face, where community can actually benefit. That's the Bible of flower face that we have. Our first design on the human reconstruction, I think we should be with the CEO. I gave it to him as a gift. Therefore, we have that. We have that up to this point. Right? The only thing there is the resolution, the mesh of the human face.
to bring the exact textures of how human body should be. We have not achieved that because of the nozzle, the resolution of the plane.
There's a whole discussion about the ethics of the 4RR and probably the whole ICT space and ethics there. Now, you've had a discussion around genetic modification. That's human beings or plants and so on.
Yeah.
With the creation of that, isn't there a blind spot in the ethics of
Yeah. If you remember now, definitely on genetic engineering and all those stuff, they've stopped it now according to what we stopped research in that area. Yeah. More or less is when you tamper with my business about when you keep tamper with using the keyboard to stop it. But when it comes to anything, question in a legal word is that who do you hold responsible? He's community area that shouldn't happen. Now, the debate is around three people: the developer who want control over the code. Number two, the user who want to use it, if you don't use it according to the instruction. And number three is that how general your AI is on it. On the general AI, we are not there yet. We are working on what we call narrow AI. Narrow AI is something that AI that you have control over. I have control over all the code. But when it comes to general AI, is when you give autonomous intelligence to this. You begin to learn my behavior, you begin to learn you, and from there you gain its own consciousness. Then you can over the box. General AI, we're not there. Now, the narrow AI is what we're where we get
around the health benefits. You spoke about the emotions, this understanding the emotions.
Yeah.
So in terms of the medical interventions, which would be beneficial to the society, what do you say about that?
Actually, it was going to be my next question. What would be the benefits and intention of playing this kind of what problem does it solve?
If you ask me, one of the things that we begin to explore is to look at the way how we're able to go into the new generation that we are thinking about. Definitely, it's a generation we cannot stop. Therefore, there will be the exact time when the machine and human will coexist. And therefore, we don't want to lag behind in that area. The main thing is that how do we give back to the machine that can mimic human control? That's number one. Number two, also getting rid of the health control for human beings. For example, I do this and learn my behavior, and my behavior is I expect this particular robot to look at the people, very healthy manner, and come up with a emotion, and you know people and begin to learn that those are things that we have we can stop coexist at the same time we don't want to lag behind our knowledge, we don't want to lag behind other world. We can do my job for us to allow the machine.
If you're talking about psychiatry, if you're talking about psychology, there are interventions that are being helped through this for the patients themselves.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the interpretation of the emotions, this is much more the advanced healthcare service provision, and which is enhanced.
That's correct. I agree with you. Recently, actually, I presented a paper on ethical AI and healthy AI. One of the debate there is that definitely we've gotten a marriage with a robot, first or two now that are already exist. The question now is that if you classify this as a legal object, then become somebody that you have to take care of his emotion as well as a robot on his own. Because if you marry to a robot, therefore human emotion is involved. Therefore, how do you now take care of robotic emotion as well with human emotion? Because you marry to those are the questions that is unanswered at the moment, and it has to be from legal implications. Because you've now classified this as a legal object. How do you do it? There are questions that I won't be able to answer, but there are a lot of things going on. I'm feeding my mind on the legality and the ethical part of it. I think, I hope by the time I finish my first 1 year in law school, I should be able to have an answer today. I'm still not here in law school, but I will be able to do the right thing.
It's okay. You can take us to the next station.
Okay. The next one.
My apologies. Yeah.
We modify sitting your room, do all the therefore, with control, you can switch on the movement part and we take over we start using virtual. This is what this project, this particular project is all about. The other project that is here is one now that we are simulating the whole control of an aeroplane. We want to have a feeling, how do you feel when you fly in the aeroplane? And what actually came here now is what now is how to fly the plane. Now, I was going to simulate that to see that can I simulate the behavior of a pilot. You have not gotten experience of it. It's scary the first time you touch this particular jet. You want to have a feeling if you are going to crash the plane, live this way and understand. That's the project that we started. The other part of this is that the passenger part, when you never have an experience of entering for the first time, you make things navigate, not only the experience of the plane, so that you can have the experience of the whole activities that is going on inside the plane as a plane user. And this is what I'm on this project.
Much more interested to the benefits of our students. We have to produce charity graduates as per the strategy of the university. We spoke about simulation. Explain to the chairman and employees the benefits of the simulation in field of production for charity graduates.
Okay. Here is, one, there are a lot of resources that we don't have on our disposal. For example, if you want to train somebody as a pilot, for me, you are paying almost going to cost me almost 0.7 million to be a fully commercial pilot. And for you to have this experience without having to own that kind of amount of money, obviously it's a way to bridge the gap. And then not only that, you simulate your future to say, I can go on with this kind of project. There are other ones that we have done on the basic science. For example, the law of physics, first law, Newton law, all those things, the chemistry, how they do the titrations, the reactions, and titrate one acid with another one can get an explosion. And you have that virtual experience. This will happen before you even go to the lab. And that actually gives you the concept of what is happening.
When you are a student that has graduated out of this, because this simulation is also to learn for your students. So when the student graduates, it becomes cutting edge having the student understand
the interesting thing is, in part of my life, I've just finished involvement in the aviation and space, right? One of the things from an air navigation and traffic management, one of the things that we've been discussing for the last 3 years is the digital towers, where we don't need to see the control towers that you see at the airport. We want to do away with that and have the air traffic controllers running this remote. But there has not been using that to any function in that space. So it's interesting this remote piloting happens compared to the air traffic management that must be done also remotely. And let them know that there is also a complication that is discussed at the UN level with ICAO, which is the International Civil Aviation Organization. That discussion there is the ethics of aeroplanes, passenger planes without a pilot, because the argument there is that when things go wrong, take an autopilot. When things go wrong with an autopilot, the first thing that happens is the pilot disengages the autopilot and it takes control. Now with what is likely to be happening, then what happens when something goes wrong and I am not in the cockpit?
Definitely, I think you noticed what happened with the Air Ethiopia.
Yeah.
When the first time that you put the plane on autopilot with intelligent on its own.
Right.
The problem is with the pilot. The pilot does not understand how they are. Because you see, the back of the plane, the blade, was sent as a sensor that when it entered the turbulence, the system itself adjusts itself with the flow. But the pilot got scared because the magnitude of the storm that was coming was too much for the plane, and the plane by itself was trained to either go down or go up or navigate and break the storm. Then it started pressing all the buttons. And because it's a deep network, when you begin to utter instructions on the deep network, you confuse the network. Then the network goes down. And that's what they discovered with the Boeing that actually crashed. It was a problem from the interrupting the deep network has sufficient intelligence coded into to take care of anything.
Just out of interest, last thing, that first one is controlling and treatment plant remotely. You're in discussion with municipalities around that?
No, you see, the way we work now is to look at the problem first, build a prototype, and show them the prototype.
Yeah.
Then if you have interest in it, then we'll take it off from there. That's always my approach.
They've always asked for the context.
No. But I'm just saying, for me, that would have my support right away. But I doubt you would have that much support because there's other political considerations around that. But then it's needed as in now.
Okay. This one when I'm actually having my screen right in tutorial, I can do that. And when we switch on anything with a virtual reality, with a computer vision, I can see down here. I don't need this virtual reality. I can use computer vision to control the entire plant whenever I am. And that is what this concept is all about.
Can you allow the students now to speak? Tell them.
Okay, speak.
So what we're making use of here is computer vision. We can use all your little gestures to control your systems at your level. So as you can see, okay, you can see my screen that side.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just stand there and then I'll just switch on the light. As you can see, as she moves her head towards the bar, that light goes on. As she adjusts the head, the fingers, the intensity goes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's on. It's running.
So yes, that's one was him. And then on the second one, this one uses voice commands, right? This is Alexa. And then we're still configuring it, but I'll consider it.
Okay. Great stuff. Good stuff.
Anything else?
Danke.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to inform you that there's tea and coffee and some refreshments at the back. Please help yourself to something as you move through the exhibitions. Thank you.
I have a basket of tomatoes I want to sell. Somebody posted it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, just a reminder that there are refreshments at the back of the floor. So please do help yourself to something as you move through the exhibitions. Thank you.
And I'm looking between the meat bag and I want to buy that. Now, the price and the distance is used. Although, let's say in dog line, you sort of Peter Marisco, the price of tomato is 100 and somebody is in Peter Marisco. And also find out that the bag of tomato is 80 rand in Victoria. Obviously, the 80 rand is cheaper and it's supposed to buy from Victoria. The system with John who ran all the way and said, no, if you buy in Victoria, you consider the cost of the time and all those things. I recommend you that buy in Dover. Buy in Dover because of 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why I recommend that e-commerce does that for farmers. Then the other one is that the exchange of the money. When you initiate that, I'll buy it from bank and initiate the payment. It doesn't go to the farmer. It's in between. The money we hand in between the administrators, the farmer and the seller. When you give it a tomato and I realize that it's not rotting and I'm happy with it, then two of them will send 2 tokens to each other. When you exchange the token, then the transaction will complete. The administrator here will take the control and system. So that is what this particular application is all about. And then mobile banking. You have it here.
Can you show it to the camera?
Go ahead, they don't want me to talk too much. Yeah, you talk to them.
So before you talk, could you just say something about it?
My name is this is the mobile version of the application. So as a customer, needs to buy farming product, they can use the application, log in to account and all of that, and then we can see the available farmers that are in the surrounding. For example, this is one of the farmers. You can see the product that this current farmer is selling. If he's selling, for example, and then let me go out, and then the products that the farmer is selling can be pumpkin, cabbage, so as a farmer, the farmer has a dashboard, meaning that the farmer can see the incoming orders, he can see the shipping and the delivery. Not only that, but the farmer also can see the balance, current balance. If there's a middleman, the farmer wants to get the money. Not only that, but the few statistics, knowing the number of items, the item count, and the balance. Not only that, but the farmer can also upload the product on website.
Chairman, I'm looking at the time. Yeah. Players, thank you so much. Yeah, we're looking at the time.
Ron is there.
Where is that?
Ron is there. The whole operation plan is there.
questions, and then I'll explain to you more.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah, my cable.
Oh yeah, 1, 2. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds good? One, two. Oh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Testing mic. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
ngifuna ukuthatha uku-check-a ukuthi ingazi-right. And then can we have a spare?
No connecting room.
For the conveyor.
So now what I'm trying
Good morning,
to
this
do,
is
based
just a
on the
reminder,
expo,
our program is about to begin,
just
so
to
please
pick it
let
up,
everyone make their way to the hall.
even if it's this, it's at this point or at this point, it's something that I'm correctly okay. Yeah. But then it has to place it like the boxes. And then it goes. Passes the sensor, counts the number of boxes that we packaged.
Okay, just put again. I just want to check a video, if you don't mind.
Stands.
Good morning. Please be aware that we're not allowed to take food into the auditorium, so please leave food outside of the auditorium. Please may we make our way into the hall as our program is about to begin. Thank you.
I connect the phone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is another reminder. Please may we make our way into the hall right now. We would like to start the program immediately.
No, like in my brain chases, it's cold. I don't know why.
So what's wrong with you?
I don't know why.
You done that to Belgium?
Yeah.
Because you're not taking care of it. I know who I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, another kind reminder. Please know we all make our way into the hall. For the exhibitors who are taking food now, please could you leave the food at a safe location and make your way into the hall as soon as possible. Thank you.
Sorry, what? Oh, no, nothing. Yeah? No, I'm taking it now.
This is just a kind reminder, you are not allowed to take food into the auditorium. So please may you leave your food outside of the auditorium.
And then it's yan to eganagan. Volume ya thing So how much is the voltage? How many liters? This one we use, it depends on when you're going to so if I want to yes, you can use it, it's fine.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, both from TUT and MICT SETA, and everyone who is joining us online as well. And welcome to this momentous event. Today, we commemorate the launch of the partnership between the Media Information and Communication Technologies Sector Education and Training Authority, otherwise known as MICT SETA, and Tshwane University of Technology. The establishment of the Research Chair in 4IR launch. Before I go any further, just some housekeeping rules. Please make sure that your phones are switched off or placed on silent. And if you're going to be taking pictures or videos, just ensure that the flash is turned off as well. We've got wonderful lighting today provided to us by TUT. Now, Prof. Van Staden once said, TUT's moral purpose as a people's university is to empower our communities and transform our society through meaningful and impactful engagement. Now, I must say that it is incredible to see the commitment of both parties present here today in achieving this impactful engagement. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Etienne van Wyk, who is the Executive Dean for the Faculty of Information and Technology and Interim Campus Rector, to provide an opening and a welcome for this event. Please put your hands together.
Thank you very much, our Program Director. Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, faculty members and students. It is really today my great pleasure to welcome you to our esteemed institution for the launch of the MICT SETA sponsored research chair in the fourth industrial revolution. I want to specifically acknowledge the presence of the board members from the MICT SETA, the chairman, Mr. Simpiwe Tubela, Mr. Luisu Tihira, Mr. Tabu Mofokeng, Mr. Sipu Zwane, Mr. Ntombi Kaisi Kumalu, and Mr. Matomi Madibana, the CEO of the MICT SETA. I also want to welcome the other MICT SETA officials, as well as the strategic partners. From TUT side, we have our DVC Research Innovation and Engagement, Dr. Batishwa Papu, and we also have our Professor Becky Twala, who is the DVC in Digital Transformation. And I see a number of other colleagues and quite a number of students as well from the faculty here today. So very welcome to all of you. The fourth industrial revolution represents a new era of technological advancement that is changing the world as we know it. Within the context of the 4IR, the rapid development of the ICT sector and the growth of global interconnectivity will play an increasingly important role in fostering economic and social change. ICT is an important enabler for more productive use of energy, education and business processes, which is vital in achieving sustainability. As we know, the emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, automation, biotechnology, nanotechnology, and other communication technologies are evolving at an exponential pace. And we need to harness these technologies to boost the socio-economic development across the continent and make that socio-economic difference that our program director just referred to in the opening. Now, TUT is the only university in the country that has a dedicated ICT faculty, which means that we are, as a faculty, uniquely positioned to specialize in a number of ICT areas. With our more than 7,000 students, 130 full-time academic staff, more than 200 part-time staff members, we have the capacity to research and develop innovative solutions and to apply the emerging technologies within the fields of computer science, informatics, networking, multimedia computing, and computer systems engineering. This makes the faculty very excited about the establishment of this auspicious research chair in 4IR at our faculty. The research chair will provide a platform for our faculty members and students to engage in interdisciplinary research that will address the key challenges and opportunities presented by the 4IR. We believe that this research will have a significant impact on various industries, specifically in our faculty flagship project in digital agriculture, where we already have quite a number of active projects. The chairholder, Professor Pius Obulawu, is not only a researcher of note, but he's also the head of our Department of Computer Systems Engineering. We will hear a bit more about him later in the program. Today we will also be signing a memorandum of agreement between MICT SETA and TUT. Apart from the research chair in 4IR, this agreement also covers the establishment of a Center of Excellence in 4IR focusing on service delivery, capacity building and research. But I'm sure our other speakers will elaborate more on this partnership. So from my side, welcome to this event. Please make sure you also visit the stalls outside in the foyer, demonstrating our exciting 4IR projects. There will be another opportunity for that after the program. So welcome to everybody and thank you from my side.
Thank you very much for that opening and welcoming, Dr. Etienne van Wyk. I actually got so excited about this, I completely forgot to introduce myself. My name is Alma Akab, and I'm going to be your proud program director for today. As you mentioned with the stalls, Dr. Etienne, I really do hope that you have an opportunity to look at everything. It's absolutely incredible to see African students come up with African solutions right here on African soil, and I think that deserves a round of applause. They're not going to America to do it, they're doing it right here. So well done to you. Now it gives me great pleasure to welcome the chairman of the MICT SETA board, Mr. Simpiwe Tobela, to tell us a little bit more about this launch. A round of applause, please.
Well, thank you, Program Director, and let me greet everybody, but allow me to acknowledge and greet specifically Dr. van Wyk, and thanks for welcoming us, and Prof. Pius, and where is he seated? And I choose to use your first name because the surname is a tongue twister for me. And Dr. Pretorius, you are acknowledged, and Dr. Papu Zamklak, I pronounced that right? My Xhosa accent helped there, right? And let me also acknowledge the ex-core members that are here, Ms. Ntombi Kumalo, Mr. Sipozwane, ex-core of MICT SETA, the CEO, Mr. Madivana, and senior managers that are here from MICT SETA. Let me probably indicate that it's not the first time I'm at TUT for a similar program. I think it must have been last year or 2021, I can't remember very well. It is telling me that we have got a relationship that is enduring, and it's not a hit and run. Maybe I need to start with the background and indicate that MICT SETA established the 4IR division as part of our functional areas in 2019. This followed the presidential appointment of the 4IR commissioners that were mandated to research and provide a report to the president and the state on the country's standing in terms of 4IR. In 2019, we then were approved by the Department of Higher Education and Training to be the only SETA that establishes a 4IR unit in response to the work that has been done by the Commission. Part of the work that we would have to do is to facilitate and coordinate advisory committees with 4 work streams that include research, policy development, labor analysis and understanding, and education. The second would be to develop a 4IR occupational qualifications that will address the future skill gaps introduced by the technological advancement. The third is to establish research chairs in public universities, which is why we're here. And also to establish partnership with the industry and stakeholders to implement 4IR skills and initiatives. If I turn my focus to the establishment of research chairs in public universities, in 2020, MICT SETA established the 4IR research chair in 5 universities that included the University of Johannesburg, the Witwatersrand, Nelson Mandela University, Western Cape University, and Tshwane University of Technology, with the aim of promoting and improving research competencies and innovation in cutting-edge technologies within the public sector universities or public universities. The core objective of the Research Chair initiative is to spearhead and drive research in respect of innovative solutions in ICT sector and for our research programs. Its solutions include innovative ICT programs, benefiting rural development, and acting as a data collection hub to assist with governmental and industrial implementation of MICT 4IR learning programs. It is also intended to produce solutions to the challenge brought by digital divide and also the 4th industrial revolution. I got a bit excited when you said African children are developing these solutions. And I probably must get off the script a little bit and indicate that for me, the universities are a very important womb for the generation of knowledge. And that knowledge is the knowledge that must respond to the challenges that society faces. Yesterday, when I was talking to somebody doing my own research elsewhere for my own studies on a different matter, I said to those that I was talking to, PhDs, masters, must stop being about the prestige and status, but they must answer and getting a red gown or blue gown, whatever the color, but it must be, what does it resolve in society? What does it contribute in resolving the problems? Do we understand? We know our problems, but
do we have the solutions? And this program and this relationship and partnership that we have with TUT must respond to that exactly. If the argument is that Africa is left behind with the 4IR, the question that must be answered by us who are in this space, the TUT, MICT SETA, and everybody else that's involved in this, we must answer that question. What do we do to catch up with the rest of the world? The truth is that whilst we complain about unemployment and fears about 4IR displacing persons, the other question is whether we understand 4IR properly. Should we not be talking about the new skills that are required? And how do we reskill our workforce to keep up with the pace of the changes? Because if there's one thing that we're not going to be able to stop, is the advancement and the changes. And the issue is, how do we keep up with that? As the case may be, each industrial revolution that has happened, from the steam engine to electricity and so on, it has changed how people do things and live life. I see Dr. Van Wyk is laughing at me when I say the other industrial revolutions. And I'm sure what he's thinking, that a prominent politician was asked in Parliament at one stage, you're talking about 4IR, what were the other three revolutions before that? The answer couldn't come. So we shouldn't mention the names now. That would be close to blasphemy. So, but the point is that each epoch of these revolutions has changed the way things are done, and it brings a different way of doing things, and so is 4IR. And there would be a bit of uncertainty amongst people. And I remember the working people, the unions have not been very excited with 4IR, because saying you are cutting on our base now because we're going to lose members and they're going to be replaced by robots and so on. That might well be true, but then the issue that we should ask is that shouldn't we be looking at a different way of getting those workers engaged elsewhere? As the world shifts into more technological and technologically adept era, we expect a large-scale decline in some areas of paid work, as I've said before, as tasks within those roles become automated or even redundant, occupied by growth in new products and services and associated with new tasks and paid work generated by the adoption of new technologies. This means that rural and disadvantaged communities may struggle to maintain and keep up the pace with the changes. That is why we spoke about the digital divide before. And I've been excited in different universities that I've gone to speak and saw young kids developing solutions, that these universities, they might be situated in urban areas, but the kids are drawn from these rural areas and they understand the issues back at home. And when they apply themselves, it is to respond to things that they know back at home. And I always make this example at DUT in Durban. One kid from close to the border of Lesotho, where there is serious stock theft, was saying, I'm developing an app to manage and understand and track the issue of stock theft back at home, because that's our problem. The other one, who was from the northern parts of KZN, was where there is sugarcane. He was talking about improving the quality of sugarcane, which is declining, and trying to understand the soil, the fertilizers needed, and how to nurture the sugarcane and how to get the best out of it. Now, for me, it tells me these are children that we are sponsoring, and they are responding to real issues that affect ordinary people's lives. And that's what the 4IR has to be about. I know Prof. Pius, I've raised this thing outside and I've said it even before, that as we develop, one of the things that we need to be guarding against is ethics of the ICT space as a whole, with artificial intelligence and so on. I think the good example that we can make about that, which I think we need to look into, is I hear in some European areas that the face recognition machines kind of almost discriminate people on the basis of race, white or black. And that feeds into the ethical issues that we need to be considering, because we shouldn't be solving problems and creating others. But it doesn't stop us from doing the work that we need to be doing. Recently, not recently, a few months back, I was in the University of Stanford University in California, and got exposed to how Google developed, how Yahoo developed, how Facebook developed. The reason that I mention this is these big names and corporate companies now that started with just research students in the lab somewhere in some university. It tells us the importance of this work that has to be done here, that new things will be generated here in the universities. They can be commercialized later, but the starting point is here at the university. And we can still see another Google here. We can still see other solutions, another Facebook, and I'm not saying necessarily repeat Facebook, but I'm saying there's potential and possibilities of developing some very important, world-recognized solutions and applications in a university in South Africa. That's possible. And therefore, we need to continue to work to do the work that we are doing. I think let's also just indicate that the research chairs thus play a valuable role in contributing towards an innovation of the curriculum in several ways. One of those is building expertise and fostering collaborations, providing resources, and improve student outcomes. Partnerships is a very important thing for us at MICT SETA. The board has taken amongst the strategic pillars of the entity to be partnerships with the public universities, amongst others. So this is not just an accident. It's a deliberate act on our side. And also a deliberate act from the side of TUT, our partner. In realizing the highest levels of government strategic plans for societal and industrial reforms, as well as to narrow the growing digital divide brought about the emergence of fourth industrial revolution, strategic partnerships become the conduit to practically and critically interrogate and address the technological skill shortage, and in so doing, developing systems that are ready for the modern economy and its imperatives. As previously mentioned, collaborations become important in bringing together an ecosystem of partners in an interdisciplinary approach and involvement of the industry partners from various sectors to launch the Research Chairs initiative is thus crucial to the successful implementation of this initiative and ensuring we can contribute towards an innovative curriculum. To date, and interestingly, the curriculum, in my view, with the rate at which things are changing, Dr. Van Veek, it's interesting what sort of curriculum it should be there. When I was in university back then, it was standard. The curriculum wouldn't change because things were fixed and determined. But I'm not sure today whether the curriculum is still that fixed or there's a need to re-look into how the curriculum changes with time as the things start going at a speed that we may not control as a university. So, but we have to be ahead of of the changes and understand the changes and keep up with the changes. The TUT was the first university, as I said earlier on, to embrace the research chairs initiatives, followed by DUT, which was launched in October 2021. MICT SETA TUT Research Chair is focused on the following pillars: research and innovation services, training and human capacity building. To date, the MICT SETA has invested about 3.1 million with 52 beneficiaries on master's and PhD qualifications since the inception of the initiative. In 2022, the MICT SETA board took a decision that MICT SETA learning management system will be designed by TUT. And we're very excited with that. I know there's still doubting Thomases, and it took some time. And at one stage, Prof. Pius wanted to pull out, and we had to plead with him because it looked like there was a misalignment and a misunderstanding. But the board was resolute on saying, look, if we have to get a solution that's proper, it has to be coming from the university. And TUT is that university. Let's work with them, and they must help us with us. So I must also indicate that we intend this learner management system. We're looking at something called a shared service model, because with the 21 seaters that are there, once we get this going at MICT SETA, we would like to replicate it to the other seaters and probably not stop there. We have already indicated to the minister that maybe government should look into this, what we're doing, and see whether we can have a shared service model that will cut costs for the government as a whole, but then have one point of understanding and seeing how government is delivering its services to the population. Because at the moment, government reporting is still all over the place, I would argue, though there's a department set up, Department of Monitoring and Evaluation, but I think there's still improvements that are needed there, and probably this could be the seed for that, to ensure that government has got a single platform through which you run your programs. And when the president speaks, must speak from one source. When he speaks about the government programs that are informed by everything that government does, but it must be available from one platform. And I think this is our ambition. It's a huge ambition, but we don't think it's impossible if the willingness and desire to drive this is there. In conclusion, research chairs play a critical role in contributing towards an innovative curriculum by fostering collaboration and expertise, providing resources and so on. Through this partnership funded by MICT SETA in collaboration with TUT, we are helping to ensure that our curriculum remains relevant, cutting edge, and that our youth receive high quality education that prepares them for success in the future, whilst equipping them with the future-proof skills for the agile, ever-changing modern economy. We also believe that these young people will not be getting out of the system only thinking, where do I get employment? But also, how do they create self-sustainability for themselves and probably create employment for others instead? And I think we are pretty happy with the relationship that we have with TUT. And I was just thinking something that is also off the script, and those who were helping me prepare this should not be angry with me. I've been troubled by what I see as probably close to being a crime scene, the entire country. It's almost getting to be a crime scene. And I think we need all of us to ask questions. How do we resolve this? When the killing of people is an easy thing these days, there's been a recent spate of mass killings. And I think as a society, it impacts us. University is just but part of this, of the society. These people who are here, lecturers and academics and everybody else and students, they come from a society. And we therefore have to concern ourselves about how do we respond to these challenges that we see. With this load shedding that's happening, we need to ask ourselves, when the president says we have to change this urgently, what it is that we can contribute in doing that. I know we're not electrical engineers here, but can we, from ICT space, think of solutions that must contribute in resolving these vexing problems in our society? With that, let me thank you, Program Director. I hope I didn't take much of your time. I'm always criticized for taking much longer than anticipated. And I expect somebody to stand up there at the back and say, please sit down, we heard you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simpiwe Tsobela, for reminding us that as academics, as scholars, we all have a responsibility. We need to ask ourselves, what do we need to do to get the South Africa that we envision? And we all need to take responsibility for that. Before I go further in the program, I'd just like to ask if there is a Bakalile Mabinya in the audience. If you are here, please could you... Thank you very much. All right, so to present the keynote address, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Vatsiswa Papu Zamncwaga, a research and innovation leader currently serving as the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Engagement right here at the Tshwane University of Technology. Now, she previously said that nothing ever comes easy in life. We all need to work hard to achieve everything, and everything we envisage for our lives, rather, and our careers. She prioritizes the facilitation of collaboration across all disciplines in the conduct of research, scholarship, and creative activities. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Dr. Vatsiswa Papu Zamncwaga.
Thank you so much, Program Director. In absentia, the Chairman of the Tshwane University of Technology Council, Mr. Tilson Manyoni. In our presence, the Chairman of the Council of Media, Information and Communication Technologies Sector Education and Training, MICT SETA, Mr. Simpiwe Tsobela. The members of Council from both the Tshwane University of Technology and MICT SETA. Also in absentia, with a sincere apology from our very own Progressive Vice-Chancellor and the Principal of the Tshwane University of Technology. That is Professor Dinokeng Maluleke, who would have loved to be in here today, but because of the other pressing matters within the university is unable to be with us. The CEO of MICT SETA, Mr. Matome Matibane. The executives from both MICT SETA and also from TUT, the executive deans, the campus rectors, the divisional head of strategic relations management at the city of Tshwane, who's in our midst, Ms. Thabisa Mbungwana, captains of industry, government officials, colleagues from our sister universities, our labor union members, student leaders who are here today, the student fraternity at large, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Sanibonani, Dumelang, Abshen, Molweni Betuna, Goeiemorgen. How? Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather in this venue today to celebrate the official launch of the research chair in 4th Industrial Revolution, fashionably known as 4R, it is important for me to highlight that the World Economic Forum cautions us that the sub-Saharan Africa region is far removed from making optimal use of its human capital potential and is underprepared for the impending disruption to jobs and skills brought about by 4R. Chairman of the council, or rather chairman of the board, rather, of MICT SETA, I'm sure the colleagues will be thinking that we shared some notes, because some of the things that I'll be saying in here, just like the one that I've just said, have been articulated in your own speech. Another thought-provoking factor, ladies and gentlemen, is that today's skills brought about by 4R, Another thought-provoking factor is that today's skills will not match, rather, the jobs of tomorrow, and therefore newly acquired skills may quickly become obsolete. The World Economic Forum assessed this fact by stating, I open quote, by 2022, a staggering 75 million jobs would probably be displaced across 20 major economies, while 133 million new ones will spring up in industries that are only just gaining traction, close quote. And we are currently in 2023. This assertion was made prior to 2022. As we continue, therefore, to experience high unemployment rates, high levels of poverty amidst an unstable economy in our country, it is no longer business as usual, colleagues. We need to confront head-on the disruptions brought by 4R. Let's face it, we are left with little choice but to embrace 4R technologies as part of how we work, how we learn, and how we live. In simple terms, ladies and gentlemen, we need today's solution to address today's challenges. As a university of technology that aims to empower people, supported by MICT SETA's vision for cutting-edge future skills, the launch of the research chair in 4R today paves a way for much-needed research and innovation solutions, particularly to advance, chairperson of MICT SETA board, to advance the development of new technologies, making it possible to create more efficient and effective systems and processes. To also introduce 4R technologies that have the potential to increase productivity and economic growth, including job creation and improved standard of living for our citizenry, in line with our National Development Plan 2030, and also in line with our United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And lastly, to address the socio-economical challenges faced by our country today, through 4R solutions and advancements in healthcare, in energy and transportation. Chairman of the board, I would like to assure you that as a university, we have taken a stand that says universities are not monuments of elite. Universities exist to solve societal problems. So the work that I'm talking about in here, particularly the advancements in healthcare, energy, and transportation, and in other sectors, through 4R technologies, for instance, AI, artificial intelligence, they are being undertaken by this university. On the 24th of March this year, we will be launching the TUT's Hub of Artificial Intelligence, which is part of the South African Institute for Artificial Intelligence under the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. This is being led by two universities, ourselves and UJ. And therefore, indeed, we are walking the talk as this university. We are not monuments of elite, but we are ensuring that our existence finds its meaning to the solutions of our people. As a university of technology, we have a significant mandate to deliver impactful research, which is part of our strategy, Chairman. As a university, we are driving impactful research. We are not doing research just for the sake of doing research. We are doing research that is impactful, not only to us as a university, but to the entire continent, not just to South Africa, but to the entire continent. As a University of Technology, therefore, we have significant mandates to deliver impactful research aimed at addressing societal challenges. As a country, or rather as our country is grappling with vast socioeconomic challenges, the launch of this research chair in 4R is timely, ladies and gentlemen, as it augments the development of solutions of these problems. This informs our strategic partnership with MICT SETA, which plays a pivotal role in achieving South Africa's skills development and improved socioeconomic conditions within the sector it operates, which includes ICT. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be officially launching the research chair today. However, our Faculty of ICT, together with our patron, MICT SETA, have been hard at work since 2020. Since 2020. This is when I put my signature on that MOU. To lay a solid foundation for this research chair in 4R. I'm sure now we're getting to the gist of why we are here today. Through our partnership, we have reached significant milestones. Colleagues, allow me to share that during this period, MICT SETA has twice sponsored bursaries for our students when they made funding available for 17 and 30 students respectively. Several research and innovation projects are in development, including 19 projects in digital agriculture, the design and building of humanoid robot, 3D printing projects, the projects focusing on biogas, computer vision, and drones. The chairman of the board also spoke about the learner management system, which is currently being developed for MICT SETA, and the agreement includes a short learning program for training of 22 learners. We're producing future-ready graduates. Aren't you excited, TUT? 12 new 4R-related courses were designed and submitted for registration to the Quality Councils for Trade and Occupational Framework. In the past 2 years, please listen very carefully. In the past 2 years, the research shareholder, Professor Pius, presented more than 35 conference papers and published 28 DHET accredited journal papers. For that one, you have to come. Professor Pius, this is really commendable work. We are proud of you. Fire and future of work are multidimensional, ladies and gentlemen, and they are multi-layered for universities to deal with independently. We would therefore like to thank MICT SETA, Chairman and the CEO, and all the colleagues from MICT SETA for the continued support in this regard, and not forgetting our very own research shareholder, Professor Pius Owolawi. My tongue didn't twist, Chairman. You can do it. In leading the developments of the research chair over the past 2 years. Prof. Owolawi, you have spent sleepless nights on this project, and we are now seeing the results. CEO, I recall very well our intense discussion in your boardroom, which took us more than 3 hours. But here we are, we're celebrating today. Thank you so much. We are confident that the work produced by this research chair will further support our newly established Institute for Future of Work, our quest to produce future-ready graduates, and addressing 4R development challenges our country faces today. As we officially launch the 4R research chair, we look forward to groundbreaking achievements and success stories. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I would like to say thank you. TUT, to whom much is given, much is expected. Go on and move our university from good to great. Amaqobokazana ke angalala endleleni ngabe kunyambelekile.
Universities are not monuments for the elite. They are institutions to solve societal problems. Thank you so, so much, Dr. Vatiso. You speak with such passion that I'm sure everyone in this room, whatever level you are in terms of your education, you're going to want to go further. If it's first degree, you're going for honors. If it's honors, you're going for masters. And if it's masters, you're going for PhD. So thank you for encouraging us and motivating us to strive for excellence. Now, today we are showcasing the power of partnership, and thus you are not only going to get one program director. In fact, we are going to give you two. So my job here is going to be coming to a close, but I'm going to leave you in the more than capable hands of Mr. Alile Mabinya, who's going to take you for the rest of the program. Please join me in welcoming him.
Beauty and Grace has now left the stage. You will now have to put up with me for the rest of the program. Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Babu Zamgaga and your leadership team, and also let me also greet the chairperson of the board of MICT SETA, Mr. Tobela, and the leadership team as well. Partners, ladies and gentlemen, and all protocol observed. I'm sure you've noticed that we are running slightly behind schedule, so we are going to try and speed things up until we get to close our program. But before I call up the next speaker, let me just express how excited I am to be standing here today witnessing what is happening here. I must congratulate both TUT and in particular MICT SETA. Personally, I have worked with MICT SETA for many, many years now, and seeing the transformation and the work that you are doing with these types of partnerships is really encouraging to all of us. So thank you very much for that. Without wasting any time, let me call up our next speaker. I was very excited sitting with him and walking around and seeing the work that all his various students are actually doing as the research chair. I would really like to introduce Professor Pius Olawi. You've heard his name multiple times since the beginning of the program. But there are a couple of things that I would like to mention about him. The list of qualifications he has is very, very long. But what is important, of course, is he is officially the MICT SETA 4IR Research Chair in TUT, and also the head of department for the Department of Computer Systems Engineering. He holds a PhD in electronics engineering from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, but he's also done many other qualifications in artificial intelligence, machine learning and data science with the likes of the University of Texas. But very interestingly, I heard him talk about him doing an LLB. He's now studying law, which is rather unusual for someone who's been so immersed in the technical field. But I really was encouraged listening to him talking about the importance of law and in particular ethics when it comes to fields such as artificial intelligence as well as machine learning. Without further ado, Prof. Pius, thank you.
I don't know where to start, but I just want to express my gratitude to everyone who has actually contributed to this. I think my DBC, she was the only one in my own career that ever followed me anywhere I go. And I think that actually encouraged me a lot. And I think my dean also, when he assumed the office, he gave me a lot of support, and I think here we are. I want to be grateful to every one of you to be here today, and I'm humble to say that I'm also privileged to have all of you here. Let me say thank you. What I'm going to do mainly is to be able to present what we've done from the research chair point of view and the contribution that we've achieved. I will just contextualize it in this particular 4 bullet point, but however, you are going to bear with me because I might take 1 hour, but I'm just joking. But when I get excited with what I do, then you just permit me to go on. I'll look at the genesis of for our research chair. Just, I think the chair have already spoken about that. I will look at the 4IR technology with 3 words. When I say 3 words, what it is, what has been done, and whatness. Those are the 3 words that are put there. Then I will share a few storytellers, just to excite you to see the byproduct of this particular program. Because you don't want to have knowledge and put it on the shelf. You want to have knowledge that change the environment, especially African continent. If there is any passion that I have now, because I realized recently the white hair started growing in my head, and I realized that the only way I think I can die peacefully is to empty who I am entirely to the young generation to continue, especially on the continent of Africa. And that is my great passion now. And if you see me that I'm doing anything, I'm doing it because of the young next generations. You see, once very close friend of mine says something. He says, how do you measure a successful man? You only measure a successful man by looking at the number of successors they produce. And that's when you can quantify the size of a successful person. Yeah, then I'll look at that. Then I'll also share the recommendation and request with you. Let me just start that this issue comes up from the Presidential Commission on 4IR, and then the MICT SETA take it up in 2019 when they established the 4IR division. And in 2020, that's when we came on board on the 4IR research chair. And our university is one of the university that came on board. There are 3 mandates that was given to us as a research chair. One of them is to look at the research and innovation, and also the services and training and human capacity development. One thing I like about the research chair that MICT SETA have created is that the 3 components that they've already given us as a mandate is a transformative component, which is not conventionally seen in any traditional university that we have around, because if the university cannot be the hub of socio-economic transformation, then where do you get it? You see, and that is one of the things that I'm really worried about now. If we cannot have a hybrid and heterogeneous knowledge coming into the university from diverse parts of the world, because that's where you can get a new knowledge being born. When you hybrid different knowledge, then you get a new knowledge being born. And that's one of the things that I think we got to put in place so that we can be able to drive the socio-economy and a new age of economy springing up in our society. We got to drive that. What I'm going to talk about is that the 4th Industrial Revolution, it's a kind of a revolution that have infusions of a 3 component, which was not there before. You're talking about physical component and digital component and biological component. That means whatever system you develop is basically the combination of or infusions of the 3D component, where the human body speaks to the component in circuit or whatever, IoT, whatever you call it. And also the cycles speak to the environment in which they involve. Where before we have only one dimensions of this, where you have your cycle operating in all isolation, but now you can actually have human being interacting with the entire ecosystem. And that's where you have your VR controlling so many things and, human interacting with that. And you can interact with the 3D movie now and also have impact of the action, or you immerse yourself into the actions of what is going on. And that is what 4th Industrial Revolution has brought to us. Different from one-dimension revolution that we experience, or 2-dimension. It's a 3-dimensional kind of revolution that we're experiencing here. Now, the father of it, who actually coined this word, he says something very, very interesting. He said there has never been a time of greater promise. He used 2 words, and he keeps using that word up to today. He said, promise and greater peril. Then it's all things is living, they left it on our table. But he said the change is inevitable. And he has promise, also he has danger in it. And I must say, I don't shy away from that. Definitely there is danger. There are about 3 laws that guide this operation, which can never be destroyed. The first one is what Moore actually point out. In all the three laws, all of them talk about the exponential growth in terms of computational power of computer, which will never go back. The other one is the speed of computer, which will never go back. Also, in the time of kind of the power in which they also consume also is also another factor. So as also the exponential growth of the network. I can tell you today, millions of people have joined network just now. You know, they're connected to the Facebook, they're connected to different network every time. That means this particular three exponential growth, we can't escape it. And if you cannot escape it, therefore you cannot escape fourth industrial revolution, and it's inevitable. There is no way to sit back and just say we fold our hands in this particular continent of Africa without doing something spectacular into it. However, the evolution does not just emerge because of fourth industrial revolution. I keep worrying about this. African hold technology, but what was not in Africa is a coordination of the concept about the technology. Egypt owns so many technology that we don't know. The origin of technology started from agricultural age, which belonged to Africa. The Iron Age, the Bronze Age, all this particular technology belonged to Africa. How did our father make spear and kill so many white? It was not in Europe. It was not in, but what was not there is the presence of the evolution of a silicon age, which is more or less what we have today. But if you look at that graph that I've given you, you know, you realize that we have a stone age, we have copper, we have bronze, and we have iron age. All those ages belong to Africa. That is when we dominated the technology. But the bridge, the gap came up when the silicon age came into being. And something now begins to be my interest in terms of what African actually has. What people doesn't pick up with African technology is that African technology based on what we call pattern type of technology. If you ask our father today, what is going to be season in the next year, they just go outside, look at the sky, look at the moon, look at the sun. They can predict from there. And what was not there then is to be able to develop a system that will be able to capture all this pattern and interpret it, which require high computational machine. If you go to our spiritual father now, you know, for example, Shangoma, for example, they take bones, they throw it on the floor. The bones has a pattern. It's a pattern that our father used to do prediction. So the question then was that there was no machine to capture all those particular pictures around and be able to document that and codify those particular predictions they were using. And if now we can do that and work with those spiritualists, take the bone and tell me what the bone is actually saying, I can take series of millions of those pictures and codify them into a natural language processing and tell you when you come next time, if you throw the bone and we're able to convert that and compare the two, I can tell you this probably what will be your future will be. The computational power is what was not available then, but now we have computational power to process a lot of information. Then we should be talking about the spirituality of the AI in the new world. And that is one of the things that I look forward to pursue in terms of spirituality of AI. And it's going to be something that I think that I will venture to very soon. Then we also have different revolutions. We're talking about information revolution, agricultural revolution, and all those things. It's not just about 4IR as a revolution. You know, there are other previous revolutions that are already in existence before. Something very precious that we never embrace from the African perspective are the following. You know, where is Africa in the technological space, for example? Africa has about 60% of arable land, 90% of raw material, 40% of gold reserve, 33% of diamond, and 95% of platinum. And I can just mention a lot of them like that for you. Shockingly, Africa has about 30.5 million square kilometers in total area mass. And China has 9.5 million. And US has 9.834 million. Europe, the entire Europe has about 10.18 million. Combine all of them together, what is the position of Africa in that place? That means you can fuse the US, you can fuse China, you can fuse Europe in Africa sitting. But shockingly, Africa is still starved. No food. It's so terrible. and the China give us food when we are hungry. That doesn't make sense. But what you observe that brought that gap is a technological gap. It's not about the landmass gap. It's about the knowledge that drive and convert those raw material into a very reasonable sense. I'll give you one example. Nigeria, for example, they have crude oil. We sell 1 barrel of crude oil around $100. And when they process it, they take that barrel of oil out of Nigeria and they bring it back, it's a $300 equivalent. Are you telling me we are deficit of $200 already? Where are we going to get that? We go to IMF to borrow that $200 to say that we supplement the oil. Where are your natural resources supposed to give you return on your investment and take care of the people? The technological gap there is where the problem is. And how do we drive Africa toward that point where we have technological sufficiency in terms of the knowledge base to convert our raw materials into a valuable value? Then we'll be making profit of almost $300 equivalent in terms of profit. That is where we have to drive Africa to. It's a knowledge transformation that needs to change now and make our continent to be the richer continent in the entire world. And that's where we have to go. Now, the impact of 4IR, I've heard people say they will lose job. But the point here is that for 4IR only complement job, people say it's going to lose job. It's complementing job. When you complement in 2 ways. One, you do what we call skill, reskilling, and upskilling. The 3 components you do that, then you complement job on the top one. We cannot be human beings and just fold our arms and never improve ourselves. Then if you don't improve yourself, you lose the job because you might not be relevant in the system anymore. But what is happening is that complementary of the job is what is taking place. For example, I'm a teacher here, but I have so many technology that complement my job to improve the efficiency, And here is my new thought. My new thought of a next world probably going to be like this. I will do less job, physical job, and I will put my asset on a robot as representation of me. Then my asset, which is a robot, will go and work for me, and I collect value on them. And that is the way the next job or next future probably going to lie. How many automation robot will you buy? And that will equivalent to your asset. And you will sit down at home and send those particular machine to work on your behalf. Then that is probably going to be the next age thinking of how the world will actually look like. Now, before I left this place, the gig economy is a driver of what we should be expecting that will transform our economic space. I heard that looking for a job. And that's what we get from our young people today. And I think the way that I feel that we need to check our curriculum, like the chairman just said, it has to be dynamic and it has to be adaptive. Dynamic and adaptive. I look forward to one day when our student will come and say, Pius, I want you to train me only this. Don't tell me this. And then we combine them together and it make the entire holistic of what I want to become. And that is a kind of education that we're probably going to come around with, a kind of adaptive kind of education. Otherwise, we are just going to pile up garbage on the head of these young people and realize that those garbage are not very useful. When I was in varsity, we did one thing called quantum physics. It was very difficult for me, actually. It was one of the most difficult courses in the university because you just see different formula that you don't even know if it's a Chinese language or other language. They used to write them. Then you wake up in the morning, you cram the whole thing, and you went back to the exam and just dump it back. And after a year, I feel when I grow up now and I start teaching the young one, I ask myself, what am I even doing with this thing today? It doesn't add any value to me. Therefore, the direction in which we position these young people, we must make sure we give them something that will be very useful and something that will give value to them to compete with the current world. Now, the technology of fourth industrial revolution, I'm sure all of you know about it. You're talking about your artificial intelligence. I think I had our DVC talking about the artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence definitely is I would say it's going to be the next, this age mathematics. You know, it's on that component is where any other thing is going to build. Therefore, it's going to be the mathematics of this current age. But I love this particular one when we talk about the ethics about all this particular revolution. The development of artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. And this is a futuristic professor, Professor Stephen Hawking, you know, who also produced so many things. So as Goods, also, who's also a futuristic mathematician as well, also give a serious warning, especially when we translate from the narrow AI into a general AI. A general AI is where the machine actually takes the autonomous intelligence of your initial intelligence that you put into it. And once that happens, there is a danger in the entire world, because what you code now as another code has been generated between the code that you have already generated. And that is where the danger, and that is where the Goodmore was talking about a kind of ultra intelligent machine. And that is the general AI that he was talking about. The two fathers of AI, I think you've seen them, MICT and McCarthy are the two fathers of AI who actually define AI in the context that it should be, you know. And when I talk about the narrow AI and the general AI, I'm talking about AI that we have now. Everything that you see that we are working on around that place is about a narrow AI, your supervised, your unsupervised kind of AI that we develop. They are all basically a narrow AI. But once you begin to go up to the level of reinforcement learning on the AI, then you become highly intelligent. 5 minutes, that's what I said. That's a problem. Then the Internet of Things is another technology that I feel that very useful in terms of the space, the robotic, and all those stuff. But what have we done in this particular area? One of the things that we've done is we've developed a very good application for Sanedi, which they use in the power now in the term of the energy management, which already in a commercial space. You know, this is a very good applications we use mainly for the green energy and all those stuff. Another thing that we've developed that we're working, I think I heard the chairman talking about, is MICT SETA LMS. It's a kind of exciting moment for us to see this kind of system coming on board, and I think we're very proud of that as TUT to develop this. But I think also this should also encourage TUT, you know, to say that they should begin to use the system they have in place to develop their own applications to solve their own problem, you know, instead of spending millions and millions on some applications out there. The other one we have already is work integrated learning management, which is already also enforced. The VAR University is using it, UJ is also using this application. Is developed here right with us, you know, at TUT. You know, the other applications now that we develop as a research here is what we call cognitive computer vision drone. What this one does, basically, on your mobile phone, you just go to your plant as an agriculturist. You take the picture right away, and it tells you what disease is on that plant, and also recommend what you should use to be able to cure that disease, and this is one of them. When I started this particular project, apparently my student that developed this with me now, as already in the States, is now working with that software engineering at Baltimore area in the US, already working there as a software developer. The other project we have now is in the area of agriculture, where we use a spraying drone, and I think one of our spraying drone is this, and I think you can see it outside, where we apply so many applications. We use it as a payload carrier, basically, you know, and I think what we have also done is the area of irrigations, where you'll be able to have a real information, analytic information from the amount of the water that you are sending into your farm and consuming, and which of the valves that is not working, or which valves is working, and all those stuff. You can see the volume, you can see the pH, and all those things. All the reading that you expect on your farm, you can actually see that, you know. The other thing is the reverse engineering of the real drone that you see outside there. We are working on that to reverse it and be able to reproduce it. The project also is on this multispectral project. What this one is actually doing is basically we should be able to follow the growth of your citrus or your milimi or whatever you are doing in real time. And that'll inform you when you should harvest and when you should not harvest it. And you know, and this is For example, this is a millimeter field where you fly the drone over that millimeter, it count the number of the millimeter, and it estimate how much of the output you are going to get and when you are going to get that. Then it estimates your return on investment for you with analytical well. The other one is on the area of UAV in time of the sower, where we use the drone mainly to hold the seed and inject the seed to the ground, especially for forest planting purposes. Then this is a delivery drone that we're working on. More or less, it can carry a certain amount of the weight of the item, Also, we work on the area of geo application with respect to the area coverage using the drone. The other one is to do a multi-layer kind of where we take an image from a very simple resolution level and we improve that image to give a kind of high-level resolutions and give a crystal clear or kind of image. But we started from a very low-level resolution and we build it up from there. That application can be used in diverse areas that you can use, but we just apply it on our own image using the TUT as a good example. The animal accounting is one of our baby now that we have done, and one of the things that I will show you is this simple application that we've applied. That was captured in Mamelodi down here with our cell phone. What it does is count your number of cows and any animal that come in between. It gives you the estimate. That means you can fly your drone over your farm. It gives you the total cows that's still on your field, and it return back and give you the count. And you can see the number of the count beside that, and you say as you begin to move. So also you can apply them on different kind of animal or species, of animal that. So if you look at here, we have a different animal here, and as they begin to move from one type of animal, it begin to identify and do the counting on the hedge. And it tells you, is it elephant, is it lion, is it goat, is whatever. It gives you the count of the spectra of all the animals based on their classes as you begin to fly the drone all over the whole farm. That means as a farmer, you don't need to stress. You just have to fly your drone and move them around your farm, and they give you the analytic result that you want from them. So the 3D printer was our baby. Our first production was this, very ugly. Then we transferred to a bigger one. Then we have this now, and that is the giant one. But the history about this giant one is not about printing this. The story around it, what was going on in my mind was this. When people get raped, for example, all you can do is to have a picture, approximately who that person look like, and you get to police station and you sketch how the person look like. We take the sketch, like you see, that extreme hand. We build millions of images of different type of races on the inside the buffer, and based on the sketch you do, you pick all the images in pieces and put them together and and project approximately how the person, based on your description, you put flesh around it. My intention then was to be able to send that to the giant 3D printer you see and begin to construct the exact frame of how exactly the person should look like. That was the mission of that giant 3D printer. However, I look at community value into it by saying we can use it basically to print flower face and sell it in the community and train people to use that. That's what's that. The first production is this, of how the person should look like. That's our first product from that. We first build up our print out the face of how the person should look like. So we then use it for agricultural product, where they can use it for farmers, in the community. And that's when we printed it. I'm sure you see me printing it out. The other one we work on now is a vision-based incubator. Mainly, we're able to use computer vision to detect if the egg is fertile or not fertile. And based on that, we'll be able to take the fertile egg into the incubator for proper processes, And the other one is a security system that we developed, mainly that it can tell you the number of people who have entered your car before and where you pick them, the location you pick them. It can reverse the history. If I enter that car again, if I've entered before and I enter the car again, it can tell me when I entered that car last and where I actually enter it in terms of geolocation. That is what that particular system, that's what it does, basically. Then we have done a lot of computer vision game where you can actually interact with computer vision. You have the screen in front of you. You come like a bubble. Your child begin to play with computer and bubble the balloon. And I can just show you, if you don't mind, I can show you a few things here that you can see simultaneously so that you can basically see how it works. That's the bubble. It's on your screen. Then you poke it real life. You play with it real life, It's been event-driven and all those stuff. Then you can exercise also with computer vision. You put on your clothes, you begin to move your hand because you are looking at another immersive kind of game inside that you can look at. Then we have a computer vision one, which I think I would love you to look at. But let's just go to the area. This is our humanoid robot. When we started, it's very ugly as well, but you can see now it's taking the shape, and hopefully by the end of this year, it should be able to interact with you like a normal, very close, This is when they were building it, and now, then other product that we have done is all this, sorting and all those stuff. This one is one of the very cool one in terms of using computer vision to manage the entire integrated system on the farm. Here, what we have done is that we virtualize, we relay the human body. Instead of using the switch and whatever, we codify your body to be the switch, and you can use that to put on the light, to control anything. The aim here is to have a bigger plant. Bigger plant sitting down in Durban. I sit down here as a control engineer. I can actually control the entire plant in Durban, sitting down on my PC and switch on the system, switch it off, and manage the entire system. Unfortunately, my boy that actually developed this now works with AWS. He left me now about a month or 2 months ago, but it's a good loss to me. I dream that all of them just leave me, but they leave me for good. Not that you leave me and go to Pick and Pay, I won't take that. But you leave me, you go to Google, you leave me, you go to AWS, you leave me, you go to the US, you leave me, you go to Canada. That's what I want to hear about you. Then I know I have a good loss, not a bad loss. Okay. Then it's now working now with AWS. I have a lot of them also, which will definitely leave me. Then we work on we convert the virus into a metadata. The virus signature, we're able to convert it back to image. Then we discretize that image and decode that image. It was amazing research, and it was very nice. So that you say, if you have virus on your computer, we make virus to be feasible now. Then from normal coded format into image equivalent. Then we use descriptions to descript that particular image of viruses. And the sad news also, the true dude, I think the dude now live in Canada, work in Canada as a software developer as well. He also left me for good. Then we have the other AI in finance. My two gentle lady now left also around December, left me one in Canada and one of them already in Highland, working as the expert in that particular area. But they haven't finished their PhD, and I told them they must finish. If they don't finish, they come back. Yeah, but the other thing that we work on is on the area of waste, which my DVC talk about on the biogas and all those stuff. The aim here is that we want each of the farm to have zero waste, mainly zero smell, if it is possible, and convert whatever waste they have into their energy conversion. I think we are starting one now with our university. I can see our farm manager is saying that too. We're starting one biogas now with our farm here, where we apply so many technology. This is the entire process of it that you see here. And now we've developed what we call agricultural e-commerce, simply called Ubuntu Basket, where we want the farmer to be able to sell their product. What is very unique about this is that if you want to buy something, let's say you are in Durban and I'm in Victoria, we have a seller somewhere maybe in Centurion. And the price in Durban is a little bit less than the price in Victoria, for example. The system will calculate all the variables and see, although the price in Durban is the price in Victoria is a little bit cheaper than Durban, but here are my recommendations. Buy from this guy because it's closer to you. your transport, and it does all those intelligence for you and recommend where you should buy your product. That is what this particular agricultural e-commerce. Then we want to develop this social network for farmers where they just find their life very easy, where they socialize, they tell people about what is happening with my cattle, what is happening with my pig, and all those stuff. And the reason why I develop interest now is because now I think I'm a farmer officially. Okay, then we develop a lot of virtual reality games also that are educative, in nature. Very good one of that is that we're able to convert the simple law of phases. I'm sure you remember a simple law of phases, your Newton law, 1 minute. Okay, then I'll rather stop. The simple law, we are able to convert that physical sciences into virtual reality and all those stuff for the children to be able to work with it and all those things. That is what we've done here, Explain the magnetic theory and all those stuff and all those. Then I'm not sure, I wish the VC is here today, so that and the student will be able to see this cool one. This particular chart board, what we have done is that this will allow our student to register anywhere. And after registration, it generates proof of registration timetable for them. Just look at that for 1 minute. If that's the last one I will do, that's quite. It does all the registration. You pay your school fees, you pay everything, and it generate a proof of registration for you and generate. Just look at it, just on a click, you respond to it, it asks you questions, then you give a student number, please enter your PIN, then you do that, you enter the PIN, then he asks you the next thing what to do, and then the next question, proof of registration, then he generates proof of registration. End of the story, close of the entire registration, instead of having thousands of queue there on the form. Sorry? No, even the one that we have given you to use, you don't use them. Therefore, we have all this. I think the chairman just said, I wanted to show you our storyteller, but I think, if you don't mind, I think I'll flash through. These are all our storyteller. He has his own company, and I think these are amazing people. And I'm going to show one of my very good friends also here. That's him there. It's one of our very great friends that's also a partner with us. We have a lot of my students on the SABC call for talking about the AI, and this is really my joy when I can see myself being replicated, on the real life. And these are all TV guys. They always talk about things about the AI, about security and all those things. And that actually makes me to be happy. This is our lab, how it looks like. It shows that in my next generations, even if I don't stay in the continent for long, I have a duplicate that stay in the continent. Thank you very much. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Prof. Pius. Let's just give him another round of applause, please. I'm not rushing Prof. Pius because it's not interesting. I'm sure you all agree that we could listen to him the whole day. But let me make this point. Usually when you come to a launch, because I'm sure you saw on the invite, it says launch, people talk about what they are going to do. It's a wish list. Here, it seems like we are talking about what is happening. And looking at this presentation, a lot of brilliant work has already been done, much more than we've seen in other parts, not only of university life here in South Africa, but globally as well. So congratulations, Professor Pius. I was particularly interested in that security system of the car. I know a few people here may not be too excited about that one, because there may be people who, do not want us to know who was in the car, when and where. But more importantly, as someone who also served on the Presidential Commission on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, with a particular focus on human capability and capacity development, I'm really excited by what I am seeing here. It's really heartwarming, and it shows that it is indeed working. I'm particularly excited about the massification of skills, but also the contextualization of those skills. Because it's easy to talk about AI and these skills, and the output of that is the lady on your GPS, you know, who is American. And I'm looking forward to, you know, having, you know, a Xhosa lady in Xhosa, you know, directing me when I switch on my GPS. So a lot of work here, brilliant work is being done. So thank you very much. We've now come to the ceremonial part of our proceedings today, which is going to be led by the CEO of MICT SETA, Mr. Matume Matibana. And just very quickly, as he comes up together with the Deputy Vice Chancellor as well as Dr. Van Wyk, you know, just very quickly about him, he has an honors degree in business administration with a particular focus in psychology. I mention this because MICT SETA and its administration is in good hands. He's also done things to make sure that he's able to look after public money in a very responsible way. But the proof is in the pudding, and I'm happy to say that when he came in as CEO under very difficult circumstances during COVID, he has been able to do what you are able to see here and in many other institutions as well. So let me call up CEO as well as DVC and Dr. Van Wyk. Thank you. I'm sure the people who will be assisting know exactly what needs to happen, as well as a photo opportunity. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Another round of applause. Thank you very much. I've just been reminded that as the DVC had already indicated in her address, the actual signatures were done in 2020. So this year was ceremonial. So you'll be happy, Prof. Pius, that it is formal. So everything is still in place. You can continue with your work. We are now very close to the end of our program. So let me introduce our last speaker for today. And she is the Assistant Dean in the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology, with a particular focus on postgraduate studies, as well as research and innovation, holds a DTech in Business Information Systems from right here in TUT. So I can see TUT is drinking their own champagne, which is wonderful to see. And also contributes in various book chapters, journals, and supervises postgraduate students. But what I really liked about the next speaker's experience, and it really shows here in the work that Prof. Pius presented, is that she actually does have practical experience. So this is not an academic who is just pure and has always been academic. She
digital transformation, Prof. Becky Twala, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of ICT, and also the Campus Rector at the Soshanguve campus, Dr. Etienne van Wyk. The 4IR Research Chair, Prof. Pius Ovulavi, also the HOD of the Department of Computer Systems Engineering at TUT, other TUT colleagues, and TUT students. Lastly, let me acknowledge the industry partners of TUT, who is also present here today. It is my honor to extend a sincere thank you to everyone present for making the time available to be here today and for your participation. In particular, I want to thank Dr. Etienne van Wyk for the opening and welcome address, Dr. Simpiwe Tubela, or Mr. Simpiwe Tubela, for the informative address, Dr. Vati Papu Zamkaka, I think I'm getting better, for the passionate keynote address, and Prof. Pius Ovulavi for the very interesting and inspiring overview of the students' research projects. Mr. Matomi Madabani, Mr. Sipiwe Tubela, Dr. Vati Paputsantaka, and Dr. Etienne van Wyk for the ceremonial signing of the SLA. Then thank you also to the TUT students who displayed their projects, to the event administrators, and their team for all the arrangements. The team was led by Mrs. Apologies, Tembeka. The team was led by Miss Tembeka Manechi, the faculty marketer at the Faculty of ICT. And thank you also to the program directors, Ms. Elma Aikop and Ms. Bakhile Mabinya. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to the continuation of this fruitful partnership. Thank you again to all for participating in today's event, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pretorius. I believe you are an avid runner as well, so hopefully we'll see you at the Comrades in June this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program this morning. I do have just two announcements to make before we officially close the program. The first one is to request all the VIPs, you know who you are. If someone didn't come to you today to say you are a VIP, please be aware that you are not a VIP. But the VIPs, please, if you could also remain behind so that we can take a picture of everyone together. But also just to announce that MICT SETA delegates, officials, please, as you leave, there are some goodie bags to thank you from TUT at the registration desk, so please do not forget. What remains of me today is to also thank my co-program director, the captain. Hopefully I was a good enough co-pilot today. And also to announce to everyone here today and virtually that please do enjoy what all the research students have set up outside, both physically and virtually. Wishing you a happy Friday and a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Taking long distance shots.
No.
As we move.
This okay now?
Let's not move further. We have to squash if we don't fit.
We're good. So we can go now. All right.
One more from the back. Huh?
We thought you must also start kneeling.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Let's get some food.
Is there?
Yes. Regina, what do you know for
Oh no, you can ask it.
So, what's happening here? What is this all about?
So we are RIA, which is here spelled backwards. So we focus mostly on human machine aided solutions that focus on sign language. So we have digital content, we have recognition systems, and we have learning and games. So
this there on the screen, if you can see, that's our digital content. So that's our digital content, and then when I talk about the recognition system, so this is our AI recognition system. So a deaf person will come and then sign, and then the system will recognize the sign as the person is signing. So here we have integrated machine learning and AI. And then when we talk about learning, so on this system we have an educational curriculum where now teachers will come and upload content for the deaf community. So let's say, for us it's easy that if you don't understand the concept, you go to YouTube, you find whatever you want. But for the deaf community, it's hard, so they don't have a content of their own. So we have developed this system so that when it's after school, you want to revise back on LO or whatever, then you can use this system. So this system is for teachers. Teachers will just upload their content and just click on it. And then another thing that we have is a digital game that is in sign language. So it's an educational game, but it's in sign language. So we have incorporated the curriculum on the game to just teach kids from grade 1 to just teach them manners and all that. So on our game we did just one chapter, which is needs and wants. So the lecturer will be there on the game signing the instructions, and then the kid will use those instructions and then just play around. So what's happening on the game is the characters are signing, so they are using sign language to interact on the game. So it doesn't have any sound, it has sign language. And another thing that we have is the real financial technology. So what we did on the financial technology, so what happens is it is integrated with AI.
Yeah, go for it.
So how
Go
this
next to
work-
it.
So how the financial technology work is, we incorporated sign language here using AI. So what happens, the deaf person will approach the ATM and sign hello just to activate the ATM to work. And after that, there will be a person signing the options, that this is option 1, you want to withdraw, you want to do e-wallet. And then with that, the deaf person will be now able to do their services. So we're just trying to create an inclusive environment on the financial services so that also deaf individuals will be able to use ATMs the way we use ATMs as hearing people. So this is just machine learning incorporated and also sign language. So it is in sign language. So what we have, this is the roller that is supposed to be here. So as the person is punching and punching, so the money will come out, and all the services will be done in their own language, because we have 11 official languages on the ATMs, but we don't have the sign language. And the sign language, I heard that it's gonna be made the 12th official language. So why not incorporate it in services that we use every day? So that's how this one is. Thank you.
Just move that thing.
Do you want to inform us a bit about the project here? What is happening? What is happening here?
Okay, we are in the IR field. So what we actually do is we do virtual reality and augmented reality. The nice thing about virtual and augmented reality is we can actually put it into any industry. So when it comes to training, education, math, science, almost everything. So we have educational apps that are teaching what we do in schools, the whole CAPS thing. We also have some educational apps that we can actually put into the engineering and the medical field. We do have an app that we can run you through. It's a little app that can train surgeons
We also have engineering in there where you can actually open up a full engine and work on it. So yeah, we're augmenting reality by mixing actual real life with 3D objects. Also, we can put you in a virtual reality system where you can actually just be in another world and do whatever is happening there. So yeah, that's what we do here. So we run courses on virtual reality. So you'll be doing 3D modeling, the coding, and app development, and we give that as a package. So that's what SETA does. Thank you.
Good day. Hi. Do you mind welcome Sophia? What is your project all about?
This is our egg tester, right? Hi. This is our egg tester. So what's happening here is we're testing with this website if the egg is fertile or not. So we're actually going to implement it on our computer vision. We're actually going to implement it on our system that is over there. It's fine, we don't have space, we should have set it up. So what happens is, let's go back. You can either choose to take the link or the image of the desired image. So you can take a picture of your egg and then you upload it. And then, for example, I choose this one, and then you click upload, and then it's going to tell you if the egg prediction is infertile or what. So what happens is it predicts, there's a model that we built that predicts if the egg is fertile or not, right? And we also have, we also have a website based on the incubator. So this is an incubator, if you do not know. This is an incubator, for those who do not know. So what happens inside an incubator is we incubate eggs, but it has been, right? So it has been automated. The one we built has been automated. It automatically turns on. It automatically gives signals back to that app about what's happening in your incubator, right? Yeah, it also detects the water level and tells you and notifies you that your water is running out. It also tells you the number of days your eggs are in the incubator and if you are supposed to take them out. And it also tells you the temperature, the humidity inside your incubator. And it also tells you the day you're supposed to take your eggs out. Yeah, that's our system. So we have the tester where you test if your egg is fertile and it should come in. And you also have the website that tells you about what's happening in your incubator.
Can you speak louder?
My name is Victor. I've presented before, but now I want to introduce people to smart cameras, smart home system cameras for security purposes. The ones that you can control through your phones. It has a couple of features like motion tracking. It has motion detection, sound detection also. It also consists of a mic, so you can speak with your people in case if you're not in the yard. If you can see here, I'm running it through a live. It's a live version of it. It tracks the person who's currently in front of it. And what you can do also is on the phone, you can trip an alarm if you suspect something. And then at night you can turn on the infrared or the night vision mode. You can also switch on the lights, so you don't need an external light. So this system, it goes along with the other home automation smart systems that we're building. So this is the security part of
Questions?
My name is Brian. I'm part of the AI team at Ireland. So my project was a phase gen, where I'm teaching an actual computer version to actually generate pictures from scratch. So these are the examples of pictures that the actual system can generate. So if I go and click on generate picture, the system actually generates an actual picture for me. And if I click download, it actually saves it in the server, like in the backend of the server. So you can go home and you can generate as many pictures as you want, and they're purely generated by AI, meaning the AI is actually painting over a blank canvas, actually generating the image. So that's my project.
Right? So those are some type of the sensors that I'm giving at the moment. So
what is this project all about, sir? Sorry to interrupt. What is the project about?
Yeah, so this project is an IoT-based greenhouse system with monitoring dashboard system. So which is this dashboard that you can here, right? And then what it does, it has some different sensors that we are using it here. And then with these different sensors, we have like a soil moisture sensor, we have a rain sensor, and then we also have a fire detector sensor, and also a fan inside of the greenhouse. So the main aim of having the fan inside the greenhouse is to cool down the greenhouse so that we can maintain the temperature of the within the greenhouse system, so that we get the real value which is suitable for the crops that we are planting. So another thing is that with this system, so everything is automated. So as long as you have everything set up here, no need for you to be physically present, because everything it will be done via the AI. Then from there, if let's say that it detects that here it requires water, and then once it detects that it requires water, it will just turn on the sprinklers, and then the sprinklers will start sprinkling, and then after it reaches the certain value, and then it will stop it. So unfortunately now you can't see that one because we're not connected to the water source here of the tap, right? And then another thing, all the details that is happening inside this greenhouse, they all get sent to the server using what we call it a REST APIs methodology. So we have a dashboard here that you can see. So according to this dashboard, then our temperature is 24 degrees Celsius and the humidity is at 77%. And then from there you can even see the soil sensor. It says that we need water, and then from there you can even see that the pump is on, and the rain, we don't have any rain detected. And then we also have these graphs here, of which you can see the difference or relationship between the temperature and the humidity. So you can even see that when the humidity is high, the temperature is low. And then it can also tell you the overall usage of water that you have used so far inside the greenhouse system. So even if you can go to USA for vacation, then you're still sorted with your greenhouse system, because you will be able to monitor anything which is happening inside your greenhouse through your cell phone or through your laptop. So that's what we call it, artificial intelligence. Then this is what you see with TUT student. One teacher. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this one is a smart mirror. Oh, my name is Patrick. I'm going to present the smart mirror. Smart mirror, it works as a PA. It can remind you about all your messages, all your meetings. You can also have it connected to the Alexa. And when it's connected to the Alexa, you can communicate to the Alexa, it can talk back. Say supposing you want a certain music, you can just let Alexa know the type of music you need. Say supposing you want a soft music, you say Alexa, give me soft music. Alexa will give you a soft music. Or if you have a specific music that you need, you let Alexa know about the specific music, then Alexa will definitely give you the specific music you need. It can also serve as a computer. You can use it as a computer. It can do multiple stuff that you are interested in.
Guys, what's happening here?
Good day, how are you?
Good.
This is an irrigation plan that chooses between two water sources, either a borehole water source or a municipal water source. So here we're using a pump to pump water from the borehole into this tank. And then here we're taking it from the municipality and feeding it into this tank here. It's all controlled by this PLC. And then over there we have a sensor that detects moisture level in the soil. So it determines when to water the plants, so to prevent overwatering of plants. Now it's getting in. This is the control system.
And this is the sensor which we will use to determine if the tank is full or not. And then if it's full, this sensor will check, and then the valve will open to go to this plant. But then the moisture will determine the moisture of the soil. If ever there's a lot of water, and then the water won't come out, these valves will close. So this sensor works for that.
Therefore, what's happening here? Your name and what's happening here?
Should I say my name?
Yeah, your name, yeah?
So my name is Emmanuel Zwane. So here we are having high wonder jetnext robotic arms. And then on this side, it's hand tracking. Can I demonstrate? So we are using OpenCV for hand tracking. So the robotic arm will check my hand. Wherever my hand goes, so they will also follow my hand. If it goes down, it goes down. If it goes up. So it's a system that can be used for security purposes, and also can be used to. It can also be used in malls. Just say maybe there's to
the camera.
Okay, let's say maybe there's a person who's wanted, and then it can be used to update each and every camera frame in the mall to keep track of the person. Everywhere the person goes, this particular script can be adopted to keep track of criminal activities around the mall. Yeah, that's it. So based on the X and Y coordinates of the person, it will detect and follow the person wherever he goes. Okay. So this side I have QR code based sorting. And please give it to me to run. Can you put So this is QR code based sorting. In this QR code, I encoded text which is fragile for. It is a system that can be used for packaging. If maybe at a certain time you want to package fragile goods, you can encode a text of fragile on the QR code, and then it can be packaged. Yeah, it can improve productivity. It is a system that can be adopted by warehouses. Yeah. They'll say maybe, like, as we all know, like people do not like most people do not like working night shifts. So it's a system that can be adopted to say maybe from 8 to 5 p.m. it's people who are working. Then after 5 to up until 8 a.m. the following day, it can be robot arms that are actually working, which thus improves the productivity of the warehouse. So we will have a 24/7 working warehouse. So with this Python script, you can adopt it into a much bigger robotic arm, same functionalities, just different sizes.
I use the card before. How? Can't I use? How? Oh, it goes the other way? Yeah. Okay, let me go to the other side. I'll come to you now. So we're sticking down here. So what about charge and then it's a blue head charge. Yeah. So tell us what's happening here, Babu?
This is a self-driving car. It is powered by OpenCV, which was written in C++. It uses two control boards. It uses two control boards. One of which is Arduino, which controls the wheels, how the pairs of the wheels should go, and this is the control logic, which is where the decisions take place. And this is the power distribution board, which tells the power where to go. And underneath here we have a motor driver, which directs the motors. And here is the power bank, which stores power to power both these boards. And also the camera, which uses OpenCV to do computer vision calculations, so it can tell the car to turn, to go straight, or to stop.
Cool. So we could. Thank you. Yeah, no, I will take it. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you. Yeah, cool.